action every night with huge payouts and electric energy that keeps the good times rolling. Craving more? Hit up our one-armed bandits. From spinning reels to flashing lights, the excitement never stops. And don't forget your Lucky 7 tickets with large bonuses. Just ask Chantel, who won $20,000, or Mary, who just won $25,000 on our tickets. Nashua, this is your sign. Grab your crew, grab your dabbers, and check out Nashua Bingo, easily located at Exit 2 in Nashua, next to Town Fair Tire. Nashua Bingo, where Nashua wins.
The views and opinions of the following show do not reflect those of WSMN, its owners, and/or associates.
Lisa and Robin are two fun friends diving deep into conversations where nothing is taboo. They believe in eating dessert before dinner and wearing the bikini. They're allergic to labels, authority, and cheap shoes. Currently, they're launching themselves through life being the good time, bold enough to take risks and inquisitively asking, what's next? They hail from New Hampshire, but they could be anywhere dressed in cute clothes. If they had to share a tombstone, it would read, "Curiosity killed these cats." Your hosts, Lisa and Robin on the mic.
Welcome to Lisa and Robin on the mic. You are listening on WSMN 1590 AM, 95.3 FM. You can watch, stream, and listen on WSMN.live, as well as Facebook and YouTube. I don't know if you guys can hear us. This isn't registering.
Oh, you want me to call? Let me call.
Yeah, so I hope you can hear us on the radio. I'm not sure. We can't hear ourselves, or I can't hear ourselves, and the board isn't looking to be working. Love technical difficulties. If you know anything about me, you know that I am not the technical difficulty solving person. I'm the technical difficulty breaking person. But welcome to another Thursday. We are here to talk about, are you spreading or stealing joy? And are the people around you spreading or stealing joy? And that's going to be our conversation today. I just wanted to show you this. These aren't bubbling, moving up or down.
She's not picking up.
Maybe try George. So that's what we're going to talk about today, if we can get this board up and working. So one of the things I was thinking of that kind of brought this whole thing into like the forefront, it's been going on for the last couple of months. It just seems like anytime you had something good to say or you were excited about something, you know, someone had to come along and tell you every reason why it doesn't work, or did you think of all the problems that could happen by trying to do this thing? And yeah, I do have all the dials turned up. And you know what's stealing my joy right now? Technical difficulties. I'm sorry, guys.
Please stand by.
Please stand by while we have these tough... Okay, so stealing joy when technology doesn't work.
Middle one should be the only one.
How's that?
There you go.
Okay,
Say it again.
perfect. Okay. But now we're not on the air, I don't think.
Are we on the air? Can you hear us?
Can you hear us on the air?
Check mics 1 and 2 squares on the board.
Yeah, they're both on. I'm wondering if anyone can hear us on the radio. Johnny would tell us, right? Johnny's usually listening. I don't know. Maybe we're listening, but if she says that the air is not supposed to be on, that's fine.
Middle one should be the only one.
Okay,
Check mics.
so let's go.
What is it? Anyway.
So she says we can hear. Okay, perfect.
All right.
Sorry. Technical
All right.
difficulties.
Sorry about that this morning. Good morning. Good morning, our fabulous listeners. See, we're going to be talking about joy today, and here was one thing to say. This could steal our joy, but we're not going to let it.
Oh, technology not working the way it's supposed to, and troubleshooting technology steals my joy.
Oh
The
my
only thing I
gosh.
know how to do is turn on and off things. And that's my
Yes.
extent of troubleshooting. I am not a turner on or
Unplug,
off. Yeah,
reset.
that's the only thing I know how to do.
I do like to be a button pusher, but
Yeah.
when all else fails, if the on and off button doesn't fix it. And I hate watching YouTube videos to try to figure it out because then I'm like, all right, wait, pause, stop. Then I got to go over there and find something. And like on my phone the other day, I used my microphone to text talk a lot and it wasn't picking it up. And it just kept like spinning. I'm like, what the heck? We just had a new update and all this stuff. And now I'm trying to YouTube it because I'm like, I can't.
And the other thing I don't like about YouTube videos is they talk for 15 minutes about their channel and what's happening with their grandmother. And you're like, I really just wanted to know how to make labels
right
from an
I don't
Excel
need the history
document.
of the iPhone. Just tell me what I need. Like it could be a 5-second thing.
Right, just really quick. 3 minutes or under.
Yes.
Fix this in 3 minutes or under.
Yes.
Why is my refrigerator making that noise? 3 minutes or under.
Yes. It'd be nice to have something you could just record the sound and then you just upload it somewhere and they're like, oh, here you go, troubleshooting.
It's funny, my brother-in-law does a lot of, he doesn't do a ton, but one of his most popular videos, I think, is fixing his lawnmower.
Really?
Yeah. And then the cat flipping on command. I think those are his top, 2 video watches.
That's awesome.
So just so you know.
That's awesome. It's funny what gets traction and what doesn't because I put a TikTok video on when we were installing our outdoor speakers and Chris has it up. It's it's up. I don't have any other sound on the reel except for that one. And like YouTube, it has 199,000 likes and it's got I don't even know how much on Instagram. Like it's over 100,000.
Right. When we went to that, a little digression, we went to that iconic event a couple of summers ago, and the people were telling me that they're just asking landscapers if they can watch them mowing lawns because people like that content.
Yeah.
And I'm like, people like watching other people work? I'm not watching that.
What's funny is
I'll watch a cat video.
So yesterday it was really nice by the pool and I have a new bathing suit and I was just doing a little photo shoot yesterday because the lighting was like perfect. Anyway, I was just playing around and I happened to look over and so we have like a 10-foot privacy fence that goes around that whole backyard. But at the end of our circle, as they're coming down the hill, you can really just get a glimpse into our backyard from their mailboxes that go down another little dirt road. And there's a lady. I happened to turn around and there's a lady like with her arms crossed and her hand under her chin just watching me at the mailbox. And I was like, okay, this is so freaking awkward. And so I was telling Chris about it and I'm like, yeah, and the Amazon driver, he stopped too because his height is a little bit higher. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. And he's like, wouldn't it be funny is to be, what's funny is watching the videos where people are recording influencers making their content. He's like, because that's what you reminded me of. And I'm like, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Just it'd be funny just watching because you're in your own world. And all of a sudden it was like, oh, pattern interrupt, brick wall.
I love watching you go to the beach and you watch someone taking the 7,000 pictures of the person.
Yes.
And it's funny because as a photographer, I love taking a lot of pictures, but I don't have the patience to keep taking the same picture of me over and over again.
Yes.
Because I feel like I get more and more strange looking at each attempt. And then
I get that. I get that a lot.
Yeah. So, and depending on who's taking the picture, I can see that the pictures they're going to get worse and worse and worse. Like, why is your focal point my chest or my neck?
Right, and now you're focusing on that area. Or so what I've realized.
Like, why is everyone doing this thing where they're holding the phone at their belly button?
I don't know. I haven't seen that one.
It's been happening a lot. So we went to a restaurant.
Oh, they're taking their picture?
No. They're like, when you go, can you take a picture? They hold it down and like snap it low. And it's like, what are you doing?
Oh, I don't know.
We don't look at each other.
I know.
Belly button level. You want to be eye level or above.
Well, maybe they're doing it for like midget media or something. I don't know.
I have no idea, but I'm like, stop taking pictures of me that way. And then I get so frustrated because I'm like, if you're not going to I take pictures of people and they look like gods. When I take a picture of someone, it is the best picture. They're always like, I love this picture.
I know it looks good. Yeah,
I
capturing
am
the- right,
trying to make you look as good as I can make you in this picture, right? I'm trying to capture
Even people
the
that I
beautiful.
volunteer to, like, hey, can I help you? Would you like me to take that for you?
Yes. So that steals my joy. People taking crappy pictures of me steals my joy. Because
That
you
is true.
know they're taking this picture and you're like, I know this doesn't look good.
Yes.
And are you doing this on purpose? Are you like, God forbid she has a nice picture of herself. When she dies, we just going to have pictures of flowers and cats because we don't have a decent picture to put up of her?
I know.
What is wrong with you
I was
people?
like, that's why I like to take my own. But one thing I realized that I have to give it up. I cannot do a sexy face expression.
Oh, no,
I
not at
can't
all.
do sultry eyes. I can't do the duck lips. It all looks like I'm straining, or it looks like I'm having a seizure or something. I'm like, so you just know what? I'm my best is my smile, and I'm like,
Yes.
that's it. I can't.
I agree. So
Like,
I 100%
I can't do sultry eyes or like come hither. Yes,
the
looks
rapid
like I'm
blink.
having a stroke, or I'm choking on something.
I think, I don't even think the duck face looks good on anybody, actually. I do it as sometimes like a joke, like
Yeah.
a smooch.
Yeah.
A smooch more than the duck, but then I just see all the lines around my mouth.
I know,
the
then I'm
wrinkles,
puckering and I'm
I
like,
I
"No,
don't need to
that's
see
not
that.
good. I can't do that."
Looks like a snare
So
drum.
I'm not going to let it steal my joy anymore. I'm like, I'm not. I just can't do sultry. I can't do come hither looks. I try, and then I'm like, oh, that looks.
Or you look like,
painful.
why are you half blinking?
Right.
Did you just wake up? I'm doing bedroom eyes. Are you doing bedroom eyes?
I feel like it.
Is this saying, come hither?
Do you have to go to the bathroom? Maybe I'll get right back. Sorry about that. I don't know. erase.
Yeah. Relax the eyebrows. Relax the eyebrows.
Oh, I know.
And what's really funny is I didn't know. I mean, you see pictures, and we grew up when there was a camera.
Yeah, you have to wait a week too sometimes, or you had to wait for a ride to the store because we didn't live within walking distance anywhere. So I got a camera, and then we'd have to wait for your parents that would actually take you in to go get it developed, and then you've got to wait and, is it ready? Is it ready? Is it ready?
And film cost money.
Yes.
Developing the film cost money. So if you wanted 5 pictures of yourself, your parents would be like, I'm not paying for 5 pictures for you.
Right.
It was, so we didn't have a lot to choose from for photos. And then you come into the world where I remember my cousin got a digital camera before me. I only had the 35 millimeter with film. And she came to visit, and she had this Canon Nikon. And I'm like, film is free? I think I took
Yeah.
4,000 pictures of the week that they were with us. Because she had beautiful little adorable children who just needed their photos taken.
I remember mine.
And then it was, oh my goodness, I'm never gonna, like, this is addictive.
yeah.
And then, then I learned, okay, you don't need, but I still have some birthday parties with 2,000 photos on them because
Yeah,
film's free. I still have
Yeah.
that film's free mindset. So there's nothing more annoying than you're going through 2,000 pictures. You're in 4 of them,
What that tells
and
me
you're
is that-
blinking in all of them.
Having to pay for film caused trauma in you.
Well, because it was always
Yes.
like, how many,
Yes, and then you were always disappointed because
I was always blinking.
you're so excited and you've got this weird face, your eyes are closed, or you just, your hair's all flopped up, in the breeze, because you had to use that Aquanet to hold it down and that wind catches it. And it's like your whole toupee just goes, it's stuck.
It's
and
like
you
a
didn't know
tube.
that. And so,
No one told you.
or it's bad, it's a bad and grainy, it's blurry, or there's too much movement, or you're like, dang.
Or someone snaps the picture while you're getting your hair ready, but like while you're
Yeah.
organizing yourself. So your neck is at some odd angle and you're half blinking and you're trying to move and you're doing something with your lips because you're trying to like make sure the lipstick is on. Like, it's just a disaster.
So my problem
Disaster.
is I love taking photos, and I have to go clean them out sometimes. But then I'm like, oh, that's such a good one. So I was like that when I had my first digital camera. I was taking pictures of everything. I was trying to capture bees. I was like, I want to be National Geographic.
Yes.
Anything, a fly that moved. Like, oh, let me zoom in and see if I can get its hair on its little.
The eyeballs.
Yes. So then I'm like, oh, now you got to edit all this stuff. I'm like, what am I going to do? So junket. Then when my kids were born, do you remember Ann Geddes used to do like the little black and white? She would do series, and she would do them like in little pea pods, or she would do them in a basket.
And she would scoop the babies. They were always newborn when they're most malleable, and then she would almost
Yes.
like scoop them up so that they almost still looked like they were in the womb. They were all
Yes.
like curled up.
Yes. So I was like, oh, I'm going to do that. I'm going to mimic those. I literally had to get another hard drive separate from it because I had like 10,000 pictures in like 3 months. And I'm like, oh, what happens is you never get those printed out and you don't get them put in scrapbooks. And I'm like, oh, I started doing it, but then I'm like, I can't. It just got too overwhelming because now I have to edit everything. And I'm like, no, it's too many to edit.
Mhm.
So I just go through and you can see in my kids' photo albums where it all dropped off.
Yeah. I've lost interest in the editing process.
Yes. I'm like, they're captured there. They're there.
Yeah, they're good.
But now that C drive is so old, I have to get it. I have to take it somewhere so they can pull it off because it doesn't match any of the
Yeah, the
hardware.
computer or technology today.
I tried. That was one of those things like, oh, that's above my pay grade. It's above my skill set.
Yes.
So I'm like, we'll just put that back in the counter.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
They'll come out when they're supposed to come out.
Yeah. So I derive so much joy from photographs, but I don't. You take good pictures of me, but you also have a photography mindset. So when I say, like, I wanted to
Yeah.
feed the birds, and I'm like, but I want the sun behind me. I want it to be kind of just silhouette-y, and you like,
Yeah.
you took 3 pictures. You got the picture.
I actually printed out one of those pictures of them flying. It's
Above.
hanging in my bathroom
Yeah.
downstairs.
Yeah, you took some great pictures of that, and even when I was like, I want to do it from this angle because I want you to see the birds from underneath. You got it.
Yeah.
I told you what I wanted. You saw what I wanted in my head.
Nailed
Done.
it.
Nailed it.
Got you, girl.
You
Gotcha.
spread my photography joy. Other people, I'm like, what are you doing?
I know, and even Chris takes actually really good pictures too. But when I'm like, hey, will you take a picture of us? It's again, they just kind of snap it off, and I think that's the difference between somebody that is visually stimulated. I think I'm very visually stimulated, so I'm always looking for
The right angle.
well, I like the lighting. Yes, the right angle, the lighting, and all of that stuff. Like, so I want to capture it, and a lot of times, so. We play golf at the Shattuck, and there's a couple of bridges that you have to go across, like these big, I don't know if it's a pond or like, but the water is so clear. You can see the roots of the lily pads coming up. And so you can kind of see like there's a whole underwater world if you're just going and looking. So I'm like, oh, I got to capture that. Capturing it on the film, I've yet to been able to get it because you can't get the lighting right. You can't. And that's what I realized. I'm always trying to take a picture of the way I see it. And then so when they snap it, I'm like, oh. And then, Chris will hand me a picture. I'm like, oh, I didn't see it going down like that.
That wasn't what I envisioned.
Here, let me try it.
Right. And John wanted to get into photography, but he didn't. So he'll say, set up the camera so this is so that he can
Yeah.
take the picture. But he doesn't want to learn the
The
camera.
settings. Yeah.
The camera. And I remember when I got that camera, I went from loving pictures to like, I don't know how to take a picture.
Right. What?
So I went to the New Hampshire Institute of Art, and it was Learn Your Camera.
Oh.
And then I took that, and then I was like, okay, I have what's going on. And I know why the picture didn't come out, where before I'd be like, why did everything's blurry in the front?
Right.
What happened here? What happened here? So I learned my camera,
Yeah.
and then I started getting into darkroom, black and white darkroom.
So that would be fun.
So much fun. You could spend, 4 weeks on a picture.
Oh, yeah.
But I did really love that. And I do still love that we have cameras with us at all time on the phone. I do like it. But I am still a little bit unjoyful of when people, it's like, did you try to make me look ugly? And then it's also, it's not their fault I'm getting older. It's not their fault. It's not their fault that from that angle I look like a goblin.
When
But
I
do
hand
they
you
have
my
to
phone to take a picture, you need to be taking the best angles, the best lighting for me.
What I kind of want to say is, hey, I'm going to be up. You're going to be at my funeral, and these are going to be up on the big screen. Can we have some decent ones to put up here, please?
Oh, gosh. Yes.
Well, can we just have a few? Call Robin. She has them on her
You're
phone.
like, that's disappointing because I don't see myself like that in life. And then I'm like, ooh. So you ever get these shots? And I'm like, damn, do I really look like that?
And that's why the underneath, it's
Yes.
nostrils and
Yes.
I swear. What are you
Yes.
doing?
And don't do close-ups, and don't hold it that way. Don't hold it long ways. It goes vertical. It's all meant to be vertical.
So you and John are the same about the vertical. And I have a family member. When we take group pictures, there's 12, 14 of us in the
Right.
picture. So he turns to the side when John's like, let's all get a picture. He's yelling, turn it to the side. We're not fitting in there. Turn it to the side. But the
Yes.
iPhone
For
wants
those,
to
for
be.
big groups, yes, it wants to, you could do it
Yeah.
that way. And then you can kind of tweak it a little bit,
Yeah. But it never sits right in the
right.
frame. It never sits right on Instagram.
Never.
It's not 9x16 or
Right.
wherever it is.
Right.
It never does.
Because those are our digital scrapbooks now.
Yes.
Mine's still hijacked. That still makes me angry. I literally reported it.
Steal
under
your
my-
joy. Someone
Yes.
hijacking your Facebook page.
Yeah, I mean, I literally started a new one last week, and I think I've got up to we're at 100. I think we have some. We have 141 followers right now
On what?
on my new Facebook page,
Oh, excellent.
and I reported it. I took a screenshot. I reported it again of her the profile picture that she has up, and I have a picture of it beside me, the real picture, and I'm like, "This is me."
Hmm. You have my ID.
Stop it. And they're tagging all these people in it. And I'm like, you got to be kidding
They're trying
me.
to sell Bitcoin and mortgages.
Right.
And the thing is, how are you making money doing that not from your stuff? That
I don't
steals my
know.
joy.
Yes.
Why do we have to have, can these people who are doing everything wrong just apply themselves in the right way? I mean, I hate authority like the next person. I hate rules like the next person. But you've got to conform to society somewhat. Why
Yeah.
are you, what is that? I don't understand.
Well, because I
I'm
think they
also-
capture your audience. And so it's easy for them. I think
But
they...
not if we're all blocking them because you're
Right.
not the right person.
Right.
Because you've lost like
Well,
700 followers on that page since they stole it.
Yeah.
So they're not, what are they really getting?
Who knows? I don't know if they have the algorithm but it's still active. And that's what makes me like, how do they still get it? It's been so... it's been reported so many times. So that did steal my joy. And it was like, I'm done with social media. And I still haven't really gotten back to it. Like, I'll scroll a couple of times. I'm like, this is boring. I don't care. And so I will go on. I might have posted one or two things on
Mhm.
there. And I'm like, I don't really want to build it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You've kind of just taken my desire.
Right.
And so, but it was like, now I'm happy. Like, I don't care. I don't.
So I think that's really interesting. So when something is working well, you can be really joyful about it. But when the minute it becomes like an obstacle or seeds of doubt, so I think part of people stealing your joy, and I asked our little friend over there, and I was like, I don't even need to ask you. You're a spreader, because I said we're going to talk today about, do you steal joy or are you spreading joy? And her answer, she's spreading joy. We are trying
Yeah.
to make us spreading joy. The show is about, as an intention, is to spread joy.
Yes.
We think we have enough freakness out in the world that you don't need
Yeah.
any
There's
more
enough ugly
adding to
and-
it. Yeah, there's
yes.
enough ugly. There's enough,
And not to take life so serious. Like, there's, stuff is heavy. One of the things I was thinking about yesterday is, actually, I wrote it down. If you are living in resentment, you're not present. You're not being present. So if you are,
resentment
trying
isn't
to think.
joyful, for sure.
well, but you're not being present. So how can you have joy if you're still holding on to something?
If you're bitterly, miserly, all of those words.
Today is the present, yesterday is the past. So if you're not showing up today, like if you're living in resentment, that was yesterday. That's not showing up today. That's not being intentional. Resentment, anger, bitterness, anxiety, worry. I mean, we get up and we always put on some things, stresses, paying the bills, getting, our job, making sure our kids are healthy, all of those things. But it's still the mindset of it. And I think about like even couples in a relationship when you are. So this is what actually made me think about it. I'll share, I Chris had walked in the door and he was like, you could just see on his face. And I was like, hey, is everything okay? Did something happen? And he's like, yeah, I'm just tired, and kind of like not looking me in the eye and all this. So I came over and I went over and hugged him, and, I was just kind of being silly, and, I was being silly, flirting with him. I was
Feeling him
grabbing
up.
Yes.
I'm like, I knew where that was going.
I was like making biscuits like a kitten, just and just being silly, kind of dancing around him and stuff. And he didn't really take the bait for it. He was like, he just stood there and, he hugged me back. And a couple other times like this, you could just feel the disconnect. And I was like, did I do something? And he's like, no, it's fine. Just, I'm tired. Just thinking about stuff and blah, blah, blah. Didn't sleep that good, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, do you want to make some lunch? We're getting ready to go to getting ready to go golfing. It's a beautiful day. You hit a great shot off the first tee box. Here we go. And I'm like, I don't know. Finally, he said something. And he's like, yeah, well, I just realized, like, I've been carrying some resentment for you. And I'm like, wow. So it made me, like, I didn't even know. Because I woke up and I'm like, I'm ready to love.
Mm-hmm.
But then I was just thinking about it. We're talking about joy. And I was thinking about watching him. He missed all the gifts that I was trying to give. Not to say I was perfect. I'm like not tooting my own horn, but it made me look at it from a third eye view of like, wow, he's actually not being present right now because he's still holding on to things, and I didn't even know it. But you're missing the love. You're missing the love that's here right now. And so what are you choosing? So resentment, that was yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yesterday's behind us. We cannot change it. So what we can do is we can impact today. And today is where we can be present. Today is where we can make a difference. So that's what I was thinking about with joy.
So I was thinking when you say that it's like resentment comes a lot with rumination. And I think rumination steals joy. So if you think of, that conversation I had yesterday and I really wanted to win that client, but I didn't say the right thing. And so then you start ruminating about what went wrong, what you should have done, neither of which you can change, except the next time going forward. You can change it going forward.
Right.
But if you hold on too much to that and you recycle those thoughts over and over again, it lowers your mood, it raises your stress, and then it's stealing any kind of good feeling or energy that you have going into the
it's like it's
to
blocking,
the day.
It's blocking it because you're still, you're stewing, you're pondering, you're just sitting in those feelings instead of.
I'm a fantastic ruminator, actually. If they gave medals for rumination, you're looking at gold right here. You're looking at gold.
You take the gold,
like by a large margin. People would be running like so far behind. I'd be at the finish line having tea. They would even be catching me. And I think it's probably started in childhood.
Yeah.
Where you're trying to, if you grow up with that kind of trauma and you're always trying to figure out what you did wrong when it had nothing to do with you, but you were too young to understand that
but
it wasn't
felt
you.
the rejection of it. That's so I think
and the abandonment of it.
Yeah.
So you're trying to figure out what you did wrong so you can avoid doing that same thing wrong, but it's not really you. So you never stop the cycle of trying to figure out what's wrong with you.
Right.
And so that it's a habit which started out of a coping mechanism. And then one day, you're a teenager and you're like, this isn't me.
I think the beginning for me of when I first moved up from the South to the Cape, everybody in my family was like, why are you doing that? Like, that's not, where is that? That's not safe and you shouldn't do that. And
perfect example of here's a child coming to say, I have this great new idea for my life. I'm making this decision, and everyone comes over. Okay, continue.
Well, so no, I actually let it go because I let it go, and I didn't follow through with it. And I think I think life has a way of when you are trying to live in your purpose and there's something out there for the universe to give you, it's going to find you. It will come back to me. That's what I'm learning. So I actually let it go. And 2 weeks later, I had a friend of mine who had a roommate. So here's how.
Can I ask you a question in the story? So you were like, hey, I want to do this thing. Was it was it the family downer that downed your
It's making me second guess and being like,
second
no,
guess.
you should.
So you
sit
doubted
still.
yourself,
Like,
and then you
shouldn't do
didn't take
that.
action.
You shouldn't do that. Like, I was wrong in thinking that, or just I was not. I didn't have any support. I didn't
Yeah.
have any. It was like that's a stupid choice. That's a stupid decision.
Right.
There was not one person be like, hey, do it.
That's interesting. Oh, exciting.
I know. My son tells me he wants to move to Tahiti, and I'm like, do it.
Right. Where's your flight?
I will miss you terribly, but now I'm going to have to buy property over there. So
I will
but-
visit. I will
yes.
visit.
But so I had let it go. A couple of weeks later, and this is the time where we don't have cell phones. There's no, so the newspaper would show up on the door every once in a while. They would, show it. They try to get you to buy, so they'll give you a free paper or whatever. So that's how I found the ad in the first place, and I was like, "Where's Cape Cod?" So I had to go look it up, and I was like, "Oh, that could be cool. I want to be a nanny. I want something very different than what I'm doing right now. They're going to help pay for my school. Perfect. It's a great thing to do because I think I just knew that I was not.
It was an opportunity.
The place I grew up, I didn't want to be. I just knew that I didn't want to be
there.
living there the rest of my life. So I laid it down. 2 weeks later, I'm over at my friend's house, and her roommate's friend walks in the door, and she's like, "Hey, I got a job to be a nanny on the Cape." I'm like, "What?" I mean, this is a tiny, tiny town. This would be like Mount Vernon.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what are the chances that I run into somebody who's got my job?
Right.
Because there was only one, ad in the paper.
paper.
So come to find out, the people that put the ad in the paper is they were looking for, they had family down here. And he would come down here and hunt every year, a couple of times a year, and they would come and travel. So he's like, let's just try it here because they haven't had any success there. So I was like, wow, I guess it's not meant to be. And then a couple of weeks later, she called me and she said, "Hey, I'm so homesick. Do you want to be a nanny?" And I'm like, yes, I do. There was no hesitation. And so I got on the phone right then and had the interview. He was like, "Can you mail me a copy of your driver's license?" I think I had to do a criminal report, which I'd already had a criminal report because I'd already worked with kids at Crotchet Mountain. So I had my CPR certification, all that background check stuff. So it cleared out, but I gave my cat and my car to my dad, and which is silly, man. I only had like $1,000 left to pay off on that thing, but it was like room and board for free.
Yeah.
They have a car there for me to drive.
Yep.
Like I was just eliminating all debt. I called the disabled veterans thrift shop, had them come pick up my brand new furniture. Because they're the only people that would come pick it up. And I'm like, I don't know how to move this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So a week later, there I was, laying in somebody's house in the middle of the night. That first night was so freaky and scary. And like, what the heck am I doing? And you still had to pay for phone calls. So, and I'm like, I just did all my money. So I had made like, all right, I'll call you one week. You call me this week. Well,
Yeah.
And well, so you pay for one, I'll pay for one.
Yep.
And so we had this whole thing worked out. Anyway,
But so that's really interesting
listening to your gut.
because I think when I think back to that time when I used to tell people I wanted to be an air traffic controller, everyone told me, no, you're not. Guidance counselors, places I worked, everybody was just down on something that they knew nothing about.
Right.
They were not. So when I went to try to learn about that world, I had no reference point. And I had no one who was like, that's really interesting. Let's see.
Right.
So my guidance counselor got me to take the test because she was trying to prove I wouldn't pass the test. And then they were like, you're not going to like it. So the little tiny headway I was making was people trying to show me how dumb I was.
Yeah.
That I wanted to do something. That and I've realized that a lot of my life has been like that. I didn't have parents who told me they were proud of me.
Mm-hmm.
The only time they ever said they were proud of me was they both wrote me a note on my first day of college. And they both left me money and left me a note, not knowing the other one did. And they were like, my father wrote, I'm so proud of you. You're getting to do this. Because my father didn't graduate high school because he had to go to work. So schooling was unbelievably important. And my mother didn't go to college. So school was very important. So this was both of their dreams that they were seeing me do, and that made them feel proud. But it wasn't, it was, I didn't get that kind of vocal support for things, and I might have just been an idiot. So nobody wanted to tell me they were real proud of me.
But it kind of,
I think it's interesting that nowadays parents are so verbally, supportive, and everything's like, how are you feeling? And like, it's a different time period.
Right.
It's not that my parents were bad.
to me, it's like evolution. It's progression of, it's pushing it's pushing the human race forward. It's, we're evolving.
Yeah, you're trying to like spark a different consciousness.
So when I think about our generation, what our kids will change, because we have so many, and we have young kids that we have, young adults that aren't leaving the house. We actually have, like, when my kids were in high school, they had this thing in like health class, and like these studies and research are coming out that kids, like teenagers, are having less sex than they were before. They don't feel the need, and
which is bizarre.
Yes.
Think about the hormone levels you had at 16.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking as women of a certain age, right?
Lord.
Hormonally challenged.
Surprised I don't have more babies out there in the world.
Right. And you think of your 16-year-old self.
Yeah.
It was like you were electric with hormones. That's sweet. Like when I look back, my father used to say every time I'd get hysterical, he'd go, "Are you getting your period?" That was his phrase, because he never knew what was making me tick. And I used to lose my mind. And then in my 30s, 38, 39, I'm like, why was I such a lunatic yesterday? Oh, I got my period today.
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder how much of I should have stopped, yelling at my dad that it wasn't my period when it was totally my period. And just the hormonal cycling of, being super emotional or all of that stuff. And then I think of I didn't have energy. I had hormones.
Yes.
I didn't know until they removed.
I felt like we were just a reckless ball of energy is a really
but it wasn't energy. It was hormones.
There's no guidance in it.
It was sex hormones. Why did you go out in a field in the middle of the winter, right? In no jacket because you didn't want to cover your outfit.
Right.
Hormones.
Right.
Hormones drove you out into the wild of a field.
Well, it's also
there was
it's also,
a
I think, that
boy
we're trying to
or a
figure
man.
out.
Yeah.
We're trying to figure out who we are.
Yeah.
And we had to explore.
But there was also the sexual component.
Yeah.
It was like the topic of everything. It was this
the thing is,
energy.
I think our parents disciplined us. Like, they didn't set boundaries. I was laughing. I was telling Chris, the way we grew up, it's like a bouncy house with barbed wire. Like, you didn't know you hit a boundary until you
were cut.
Until you were cut. Then you're like,
bleeding.
"Well, I didn't know." But so I think what we did change is, my parents never had a sex talk with me. They never talked about how boys, my mom never even talked to me about getting our period. So what I changed, where the pattern interrupt, what I changed is I wanted them to know that there's nothing gross or embarrassing to talk about sex. It's something that happens with your body, and you should love your body. It's yours.
And sex is a beautiful thing.
Yes, and it's meant to be something that's beautiful. And so you want to be careful about, I said to both of my kids,
do you think it's all the pornography?
I don't know.
Because they have access to so much pornography. Do you think it dullens the sense? Because watch the voyeuristic, even life, watching people go on vacation, all of this voyeuristic element, this performative element of our lives, how much are we feeling and engaging in, instead of being outside of ourselves,
Right.
looking back at ourselves? How much are we eyes forward, eyes out? And when I think about the teenage thing, how can you not want to have sex?
Right.
And the thing is, I grew up in a Catholic school, so they were putting the boundary of you're going to hell, you're going to get pregnant, you're going to get an STT.
But I think the things
that
are
might
different.
keep that kind of in check, but energetically and hormonally, it was on the forefront. Even though you
Right.
weren't actually having sex,
What was it like?
it was
What
like,
is it like? That's what you're thinking about. You're
Yeah.
thinking about sex in some capacity all the time.
and it almost feels like you're always electrified of the energy felt different.
Well,
And I'm wondering if just it's having it. I'm sure part of the problem with pornography is, okay, so you see two people doing it missionary, all right, you see a little bit of oral sex, okay, but then it starts having to get weirder and weirder and weirder.
Right.
And so now I don't want to do this weird thing. I don't want pigs
Yeah.
involved. I don't know why there's a goat here, but I want nothing to do with it.
Oars.
That's a Dave Chappelle skit.
Yes. Well, so what I said to them, looking back, wow, that could have caused trauma, but it was said in a very gentle, loving way, is saying that, when we start having these feelings and emotions, and sex is, on the forefront of our brain, it's meant to be a beautiful thing. But at 16, you're not, 14, 15, 16, 17, shit, probably not even our 20s.
Right.
We're not emotionally prepared for what happens after that. And so I'm like, somebody had said to me, and I had said to them, at 16, like, you always remember your first. You always remember your first. And when you have sex with someone, it's meant to be a binding, and you will always leave a part of yourself with that person, and that person will always be a part of you.
Yeah.
It just happens.
Spread joy, don't steal it.
Right. But and so then you're just not able to emotionally handle all of those things, and so it just gets messy. It gets messy and stressful. And I don't know if we've taught our kids enough to say, maybe from our own bad experiences, to be like, hey, it's not as great as you think it is. Just slow down a little bit. Slow down.
I don't want someone on their learner's permit.
But I also didn't feel like it's true.
I want someone who knows how to drive Formula One. I don't want any
yes.
kind of learner's permit. You got your directional on for 3 weeks before the exit.
I
You're
don't
going
need your-
40 miles an hour on the left lane of the highway. I don't want any of this.
I don't need your parents dropping me off because I need a hookup. It's too young.
Yeah.
Share your own wheels.
At least. And your own money. At least. Oh, yeah. So,
Yes.
but I think that's really interesting because we should talk to some young people and figure out what is the challenge, because it's really important for the human race to go forward, for us to procreate.
Yes. Well, yes. I don't want to get into. I'm not going to say it.
Well, we got 9 minutes before the hour
Well, I
ends.
just saying that, but there's also a lot of, gender neutrality, like, am I he, she, whatever. And there's also a lot of, what's the place that gives out?
Planned Parenthood.
Yes. They're like the #1 distributor for sex change in young kids, like
Yeah.
suppressing their hormones that are suppressing.
So we're just going to let kids tattoo their faces at 13 now, too.
Right.
Because I think make all the bad decisions
Right.
now. Make permanent bad decisions for the rest of your life at 13. Don't wait till 18 or 21. Absolutely not.
Right.
No. We need the brain that's not developed. You don't even have like the frontal cortex. Vortex. One of those things. Neocortex, something. You don't even have that.
Prefrontal cortex. Oh.
Saying words wrong kind of makes me happy. If you can guess what I'm saying, you will understand it. If you can't, I'm sorry.
Johnny said, he commented on on our YouTube page. He said, "I am still electric. I am 100,000
You are
watts
electric.
of power. I
Johnny,
think
you
I
are
am more
electric."
of a dynamo now than I was when I was younger."
You're an-
Amen, brother. Me too.
I want to be. In my head, I am.
Well, what is
In my head.
great is having a best friend as your partner, like, and being able to create a space and environment where you both feel safe. Like, we have done some stupid fun things as adult, but I feel like my sex life the best part of my sex life is like happening now. And so in the last, after I got over like 35.
I wonder how much of that has to do with the fear of being pregnant.
It's true.
Like just, oh God, please don't let me be pregnant. I wonder how much of that is like, because I think AIDS
You gonna be
stole,
my baby daddy?
I think AIDS stole our joy of sex, because here we were electric, we were on, we
Yes.
were wanting to drive this car, and here comes AIDS. We don't know how you get it.
Right.
You can have sores all over your body. You get it from sex, and like it was a sex really I think changed after AIDS.
Yeah.
As because you had the free loving. My parents grew up in the free loving hippie
Yeah.
orgy time period, which I'm glad we're not that. Oh, speaking of sex, did you see anything about the P. Diddy trial?
Mm-mm.
So I was asking because I was watching the New York Post, I think, and it was saying, his sex freak tapes, and I'm like, what makes them sex freak tapes versus like what does freak have to do with it? Right. So and then I asked, and it's everyone having sex with everyone. I go, orgy? Because isn't that like, why do we keep changing the definitions? I don't want to
Right.
have to keep looking up definitions on my phone.
Right.
My search results, if something happens to me and they go through my search results, they're going to be like, what is this girl doing? I just don't know the definition. What is a sex
Webster
freak tape?
no longer exists. It's the Urban Dictionary right now.
But I mean, like, is it an orgy? Is that what it is? Or is it someone pooping on you? Like, what is it? Like, I need a
What
definition.
defines it as freaky other than just a sex date? Like,
Right, you're getting your freak on.
did they know they were being filmed?
See, I don't know, because when I saw him dragging her around the hotel, I was like, all right, I don't want to witness this poor girl's
Yeah.
thing. So I kind of was like, I'm sure, and then I'm sure whatever it is, I'm so glad it didn't happen to
We
me.
totally went from joy to sex.
Well, I think it kind of comes together.
It does.
It kind of comes together because, what else is joyful? As
Well,
the
But to
certain
me, I
things-
think that we're all sexual energy, and I think that the more that you learn to, and it doesn't have to be provocative. It's the way you move. It's the way you speak. It's the way there's a sensuality. I think there's sensuality and there's sexuality, and I think we all have sexuality. We all have both.
Mhm.
I think what are you tapped into,
Mm.
or what do you suppress?
And that's why I think it would be an interesting show to have people between 20 and 30 who feel like they don't need to have sex. Is that because there's a vibrator at CVS and you feel like you're taking care
Right,
of
you can go to
business? Are you just watching porn and you're like, I'll just do this by myself? What is preventing something that has driven the human race forward since the inception of time?
Well, true, but I think I think COVID hurt a lot of young people in some
Yeah.
ways, as far as isolating and not
Joy Stealer,
Yes,
COVID.
but also social media. So social media, they spend so much time communicating with people online that they don't feel like that they need to go out and make that physical connection.
Or they're afraid because they get to delete.
Yeah.
They get to really put the best foot forward, but
Well,
are
you
they
don't
that
have to-
fast in real life? When someone
Yeah.
flirts, like even think of flirting, that's a present. You have to be really present to flirt. You have to be in the moment. They have to
Yes.
volley something to you. You have to volley it back to them. It's this catch, throw type thing. And if you don't have, and you do it poorly for a huge period of time, you're like trying to wink and your eyelashes are all caught, and like
The bad duck face, sultry
yeah, you're like,
eyes.
is this doing it for you? Is this it? Is this doing it? Is this it? Do I squeeze my?
Do I make you horny?
Is this making you randy, baby?
$5 make you holla. Yeah, so we would love to interview anybody. So if anybody wants to come and join us,
Between 20 and 30, and you have an answer to us because we're like, why aren't you with all your hormones? What's going on?
why don't you dry humping everything and walks down the street?
We were
just
like, we had to be like hosed down when we were kids. I have one girlfriend. She talks about, she's like, I don't know what was wrong with me. I'm like, I know what was wrong with you. But she's like, she has hilarious stories about how you know, she's terrified for her children because she's like, I knew what I was like.
Yes.
You know.
I always said to my kids, you can do whatever you want. And I said, but I guarantee you, I will always one up you.
And that's like when Dr. Ruth is like, how to put on the condom. You're like, anyone hear this?
I already
Mom?
know. I already
Mom?
know. Like, I already played out in real life, worst case scenario, how that happens. So
Yeah.
try me.
Yeah. Okay. So spreading joy. Not that all sex, I mean, the P. Diddy sex probably isn't joyful for the woman who's being blackmailed by the sex freak tapes.
Right.
You know, so
Right.
again, there is the stealing joy. Sex can be a beautiful thing unless someone videotapes and blackmails you with it and drugs you.
Yeah. Well, at the next hour, because I want to talk about too, like, I want to talk about how resentments and how we actually keep our own joy, how we give that power away to other people.
Yes.
Like, if I do this, or if they do this, we'll get into the top of the hour, but if they do this, then I'll be happy. You know, I was going to share a story about a friend of mine who was married to an alcoholic for 25 years, and how, anyway, we'll do it at the top of the hour.
Yeah.
But
because that's going to get deep. But this hour these 2 hours we're talking about, are you spreading joy? Are you stealing joy? And I'm sure everyone thinks, I don't steal anyone's joy. But if you think about if people don't tell you things because they don't want to listen to what you have to say,
Right.
that you are a joy stealer.
yes,
You're going to have to practice.
yes,
You know, doing something
a
with that.
faucet or a drain.
Right. You're listening to Lisa and Robin on the mic on WSMN 1590 AM, 95.3 FM. You can watch, stream, and listen on WSMN.live as well as YouTube. We were also up on Spotify. We're going to go to the top of the hour, and you'll hear your important announcements, and then come back and join us probably about 11:07. We'll see you in a minute.